Good morning. This is a story called The Not Sure Syndrome by Kim Howtree. At last the big day had arrived. The guests were seated in the church, and the groom, whose name was Bill, was standing at the front of the assembly dressed in his new suit. Beside him stood his best man. Any moment now the bride would arrive. All of a sudden, there she was, resplendent in her finery, with father on her arm, ready to give her away. Vicky began the procession down the aisle. She was followed by the bridesmaids. The whole scene looked a picture as Vicky took her place alongside Bill, and the church was packed looking on. The marriage service began. Everything proceeded normally until they came to the part about making promises. The minister addressed Bill with the standing question he had asked 1,000 times before other grooms. Do you take this woman to be your lawful wedded wife? Bill appeared surprised. He seemed stunned by the question, like a rabbit caught in a car's headlight. Could you repeat that question, please? Bill stammered. A giggle went through the congregation. Just a case of young man with nerves, everybody thought. The minister chuckled to himself and said with an amused smile, and he asked again, Bill, do you take Vicky to be your lawful wedded wife? Why, I'm not sure, Bill replied. A hushed murmur went through the crowd. What I mean is, I'd prefer to keep an open mind on the matter. A few people shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Now, don't get me wrong, Bill continued. I'm not saying I don't believe in Vicky. I do believe in my own way. It's just that, well, my beliefs are a private matter, and I feel they should stay that way. Well, you could have cut the air with a knife. Vicky was looking aghast at Bill. The congregation was by now extremely agitated. The bride's mother was on the point of fainting, and the bride's father was on the verge of picking a fight with the groom. The minister thought he would try one final time. William Jones, he boomed, staring straight at the hapless Bill. Will you or will you not take Vicky, Victoria, to be your lawful wedded wife? Bill seemed stuck for an answer. By now the place was in an uproar, and it was all too much for Vicky. She stormed back down the aisle, taking the bridesmaids with her. The best man put his ring back in his pocket. The guests began to file out of the church, and within minutes the place was empty except for Bill, who was left standing by himself, wondering what all the fuss was about. What was it I said? He asked. After all, it wasn't as if I said no. Well, this is not a true story, but I tell it to make a point. There are certain situations in life where not saying yes is equivalent to saying no. One of these situations is your wedding day. Another is your response to God and His gospel. There's a widespread spiritual syndrome today of notsurism. While most folk may not espouse outright atheism, many try to get away with the more subtle approach of notsurism. This means stopping short of saying no to Jesus, while at the same time never saying yes to him. Perhaps they say something like, I believe in my own way, or I think there are many valid ways to God. This simply will not do. It is behaving exactly like Bill on his wedding day. The basic problem lies in trying to keep an open mind about a matter that requires a yes or no answer. I'm sure you'll agree with me when I say that Vicky had every right to interpret Bill's response as a no. In the same way, Jesus is entirely justified in reading our not sure attitude towards him as a rejection. So today, have you said yes to God?